Astrology time, and today is Monday, the 3rd of August. Shane here, Daily Astrocat. Hey, it's Monday, and the moon's going to be in Aries all day long. So, the moon joins Neptune in the apex point of that creative mini grand trine. If you think about it, that's the one that goes from Uranus to Neptune to Pluto, or backwards, vice versa. So, that's Aries energy. The Aries energy today is assertive, creative, and very much in control. So, think of it as gaining some self-confidence, particularly with the sun at the end of the cradle, with the conjunct with Jupiter. So we got to go beyond that mini grand trine to where Jupiter and the sun are to make that cradle for us, right? That we've been talking about, or Barbalt's basket, the cradle, right? So Barbalt's basket, that's done, but the cradle's still there. Checked it last night, still very much in orb and still very much there. Now, for some, now think about it. How are you going to gain that self-confidence? Well, for some, it was a result of their actions, and there was plenty of action yesterday as we were as far as wrapping up that month was concerned. With that being done, we're ready for some new challenges. Mercury in Cancer had caused yesterday some to take, like a serious look at some housekeeping tasks. Getting that house in order. We've got Mercury direct now. Mercury is finally making its own way and is in the home-loving sign of Cancer, right? Make it more secure, make it more approachable, make it so that we are feeling emotionally set wherever we're at being at home. Happy. That's a good word for it, happy. So Chiron is retrograde today, so make sure you're being proactive as far as your activity level is concerned, and keep it maintained, right? Let's keep on doing this. Today's keyword is confidence, and the color is metallic red. Now, we're beginning to feel the sun pull away from Jupiter, so we're starting to feel a little bit more assured, a little bit more in that Leo season, that Leo feeling, even though we're still conjunct with Jupiter, so we're getting that out there in a big sort of way, right? Expansive and very expressive. Now, here's a pro tip, though, for those who are keen on astrological survival. Pay no mind to the retrograde of outer planets. It's a two-step forward, one-step back dance that occurs every year, 5 months at a time for most planets, right? For some of those planets. The only time that these kind of retrogrades are significant is if they'll be changing signs. So this year we're going to have Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, and Chiron all go back to the signs that they were in. They're in, for example, Chiron's in Taurus. Chiron's going to go back to Aries. So we're going to go back to where we were before Chiron went into Taurus. So we're going to go back to that active state, that fiery state, that state where we were trying to get some stuff done. You have to remember, too, that it's going to be passing through that anaretic degree, that 29th degree of the sign that was previous. So, 29 degrees Pisces for Saturn and Neptune, 29 degrees Aries for Chiron, and Uranus will be 29 degrees Taurus. So, money troubles, right? That's what we had last time. Uranus in that point. However, Uranus going retrograde over it kind of gets us back to where we were at. Just so you're able to think about what you may have done wrong, or what may have been not productive for you, and you can actually go forward and think about what could be productive as far as investing wise with that Uranus and Taurus, because that was really interesting. Now, and it also means it's going to be crossing those 0 degrees, the cosmic points, so say, for example, 0 degrees Aries, that world point, or the initiating point, the beginning points of those couple of signs. So those are like extended do-overs, right? And they can be very potent when they're crossed, when they're backed over, and then when they're gone forward again. These will be interesting to see what we're going to do with that kind of energy. I'm confident that you'll be positioned to use the energy even better for the next go-around once we've experienced this, though, right? That's with every single one of those retrogrades. As it goes over those couple points, when it comes back around them, it's going to be even better for you. Now, the moon in Aries is here to remind you of the creative possibilities that we have at hand, because every point on that cradle is going to be fired in some way, because with the moon entering into that position exactly, it will form sextiles and trines and everything with all the planets that are involved in that cradle. So rather than even list them all individually, you're just going to find yourself in that position to be able to be like, oh, look, we've got all of this activity here that we can do that's going to include creativity. Make sure you make it creative, though, okay? Because that's really what we're looking for. We're looking for that. We're looking for a performative edge to it as well, particularly with Jupiter and the Sun being in Gemini, being at the front of that cradle. Now, the short version of the forecast is one such innovation that occurred last year around the time of, guess what? The same creative trine, but the same creative trine was just in a couple of different planets, right? It was a couple of different signs. So the planets that are involved, Uranus, Pluto, and Neptune, with Neptune at the apex, were where they were at last year, and this is how this came about, the short version, okay? Not the long version, the version here, but the shorter version that I do, the 2-minute version, that is wildly, wildly popular now. It's just starting to take off. And honestly, it took that format, even though it was done back in June and then initiated right over the 4th of July weekend, really didn't start to take off until about this time last year with the 808 portal. So it's kind of interesting. The growth that it experienced in just the last month, mind you, is very indicative of what the solar return meant for this platform. So basically from June, the end of June, up until now, right? Huge amounts of interest, huge amounts of people just finding it every day. And that growth is the first solar return. So it's indicative of what that meant for this platform. Now, think about things that, from your perspective. What is it that you're going to be doing or you've done that is going to be following that same pattern? Because it's a very interesting pattern. Now that the mini grand trine that is here, that existed last year, is further evolved, okay? So now it's just moved forward to a couple of different signs, right? And not necessarily. I think they were just about here. We had Uranus in Taurus, because Uranus hadn't entered Gemini yet. So we still have Uranus in Gemini. But Mercury and Pluto are in the same... Neptune and Pluto are in the same spots, right? Mercury's never in the same spot. It just goes around too fast. But those outer planets, they're just not changing their aspects to each other. There's still a trine between Pluto and Uranus. There's still a sextile between Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto. So what is that going to bring to you, though, right? Look... There's evolution here, right? That mini grand trine evolved. It existed last year. It's evolved to include a couple different signs, and whatever you're deciding to put out is going to be equally evolved as it was from last year. So, if we approach it that way, the moon joins Saturn at 7:22 in the evening. Now, I want to point out that Saturn is outside of the energies of the cradle that stretches from Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, the Sun, and Jupiter. It's almost as if you're being handed a task that is outside your areas of responsibility, right? Oh, look, here's Saturn. Well, I don't do that. Okay, I don't do that. So if you don't do that, what are you going to do with it? Well, look, knowing the scope and limitations of your responsibilities is the most unintentionally Saturn thing we can do at this moment. The entire situation is what it needs to be. A perfect test of our resolve. Okay, so we get there somehow just by being there. So in 1829, Giacomo Rossini's last and greatest opera, the William Tell, premieres at Salle de la Pelletier in Paris. And our birth is Martha Stewart. 85th birthday. She's born in 1941. She's an American business magnate and TV personality who founded Martha Stewart Living Omnimedia, born in Jersey City, New Jersey. And that's all I have for you. Happy birthday, Martha. And thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate and love every single one of you. Super, super good. Super great to have you along. The growth has been phenomenal. Love it. So let's recap, shall we? Our color is metallic red. Kind of like this color right here. And our keyword is confidence, as in we're getting a little bit more confident every day. So there's no reason not to feel that way. Today is a 5. Happy astrocatting.